Welcome back to Josh Does Math. In this video I'm doing some problems related to the chain rule. So right here is the first example. It's a classic usage of the chain rule. We're going to take the derivative of whatever the whole function is with respect to the inner function times the derivative of the inner function with respect to x. So this just becomes the power rule right here. Pull the power out front. 1 smaller on the power times this right here, derivative of the top with respect to x. So this is just going to be the power rule again. Pull the power out front, 1 smaller on the power, and the derivative of 12 is a constant. So now we can simplify this a little bit down to 4x over 12 minus x squared to the third. So that's going to be the answer to the first one. Now for the second one, it's a little more complicated because we're using the chain rule multiple times. So we're looking for the derivative of this big mess right here. So I'll set up the chain rule, derivative of the whole thing, with respect to whatever's on the inside. And as you get more comfortable with these rules, you don't need to write out every single step. I'm just writing out each step so that you can better understand how the rules work. So I took derivative of the whole thing with respect to inside times derivative of the inside with respect to an even more inner function, 3x minus 2. And then I'm going to take the derivative of 3x minus 2 with respect to an even more inner function, which is just plain old x. So that's how you set up the chain rule. You work your way inside. You say derivative of the whole thing with respect to inner times derivative of inner with respect to even more inner times derivative of this even more inner function, and finally with respect to x. So let's do this. This first one is going to be the power rule. Pull the power out front, 1 smaller on the power. So it becomes to the third power. This next one right here is going to be a combination of things. First, we're going to use the sum rule to take the derivative with respect to, take the derivative of the first with respect to this and the derivative of the second thing with respect to this, and then just simply subtract them. However, the derivative of the first one is just going to be a constant. So we're just looking at the derivative of the second one. So first of all, I'm going to pull the constant out front, negative, and then it just becomes a simple power rule. Pull the power out front, 1 smaller on the power. All right, we got our second derivative done. Third one. This is just going to be the power rule, so I pulled the constant out front, and it's just derivative of x with respect to x, which is 1. So this is what I'm left with. And then this simplifies down a little bit, so we get, this is going to be negative 36 times 1 minus 3x minus 2 to the third times 3x minus 2 squared. So you could maybe simplify this down a little bit into some different form, but this is the correct answer right here. And as you can see, I just applied the chain rule a couple of times, and there we go. That's all there is. Thanks for watching.